So I love to go into these very contemplative states. And I feel like when I go into these contemplative states, what I'm really doing is I'm going into the quantum and connecting with Source Creator to get information. But interestingly enough, I did go into this contemplative state and I asked the question, this is the question I asked. The question I asked is frequency, vibration, and energy all of the same thing? And there is this innate sense that told me no, but that was the question that I wanted to ask in my contemplation while I was floating around in the quantum and connecting with uh, Source Creator. And of course, I don't always get my answers just then because if any of you know me, I walk around asking questions all the time. How about this? What about that? Why is it this way? Tell me about this. So that's basically what I did. And I actually did that a few days ago. And then I kind of stayed in my own contemplation or meditation, whatever you want to call it. And boom, today I got my answer. And so I want to talk about frequency, vibration and energy. And what is crazy is that, and I am guilty of this too, I have always used those terms interchangeably. And I think that even though there was that innate sense that I knew that they were different, because if you take a science class, it does kind of tell you that they're different, but I was using them just like they all meant the same thing. And this morning, I got the tap on the shoulder that said, they're all different. So let's talk about each and every one of them. And then what I want to do is I want to try to break it down from that complex form into something that is practical. So here I go. And here's the example because I always ask when I ask and they give me this complex thing, I'm like, okay, so how do we put that into practicality? Because I got to live here, right? All right. So here we go. When we talk about frequency, we're actually talking about the quantum field. And within that quantum field, there is an infinite amount of potentials, meaning that that is where frequency lies. It lies in the quantum because frequency is the number of potentials, it is the number of events, it is that space that when we say that we're going to go check into the timelines, we're actually saying that we're stepping into the quantum to check the frequency, the potentials of what is possible. Because those potentials actually are on waves, okay? They're on these waves and it's these channels or these waves, whatever you want to call them, where these potentialities lie. So from a physics standpoint, those are the waves the that we talk about, right? So when we talk about vibration, what happens is that's in physics when we become the observer. So vibration is all about movement that is going back and forth within objects and within space. So it's the oscillation that is happening within objects and space. Oscillation or vibration cannot happen until we observe the wave collapses and then it turns into these particles, right? The matter. So we have to have these particles in order for oscillation or vibration to happen. Next, we then talk about energy. And I feel like this is where we really get confused because we just kind of use energy as the end all be all of what frequency and vibration is. And even though we could use it as that. Honestly, energy is its own separate thing. It's its own singular thing. And so energy is really is an animating force. It is putting motion it is putting motion into things. It's giving its power source to move things and to create things. So they're all different. Yet they all work together simultaneously I'm gonna say in the land that we live in. It works simultaneously on Earth, it works simultaneously in our bodies, it works simultaneously on a cosmic level. They're always working together. So in my mind, when I think about frequency, vibration, and energy, it makes me think of them being like all three of them are the form the Trinity of creation. So how do they work together? And this is what I'm going to explain to you, and I'm going to try to break it down so that you have a practical understanding of it. So just so you know, the way that it works is we have to go into frequency, the potentials, we have to observe the frequency that then creates it into the particles, which becomes the vibration. And in order for it to all come together and to animate it and to put it into creative form, we have to then bring in energy because energy needs particles, it needs that, and it needs the vibration, which a good example is like heat. When we heat it up, those particles speed up to create whatever force action that we're doing. So, in practical ways, and I'm going to give you kind of two simple forms. The first one is this morning when I got up. I got up and said, I reached into that potentiality of going, do I want to get dressed or do I not want to get dressed? Right? Because there's infinite amount of possibilities. And I said, I'm going to get dressed. So the moment that said, I'm going to get dressed, that wave collapses. It then creates particles because now it's in an observable form. So now it starts vibrating, right? So now these particles are vibrating and they're more likely vibrating within my body. And I'm going, okay, so now I need to actually get up and get dressed. So now what I'm doing is I'm taking that vibration and telling my energy, because it takes my energy and my effort to get up and to go get dressed. So now I get up and I go into my closet to go get dressed. Now here I am again, back in this cycle, because it literally is like a cycle. So now I'm back into the frequency part of it. What do I want to wear? So many potentials. So I chose this little jumper. So now I chose the jumper. The wave collapses. It turns into particles, right? So now that is the information that is vibrating. And what do I need to do? I need to take it out of my closet and put it on my body. That is the energy and the effort that I made to then put it on my body to now create that I'm a dressed person. So we really need to understand that yes, I mean if you want to use them interchangeably by all means, but I do think that it's really important for us to really understand the words and how we're using them because words carry a lot of power. So when we are using things that are like using things interchangeably that mean different things, we are literally taking the power away from them and putting into it confusion. So so when people say, oh, I'm really feeling into the energy, it is not the energy that you're feeling into. What you are experiencing is the vibration of the wave of that potentiality, which is the wave that collapsed into particles. That is what you're feeling. So I am feeling the vibration of that person. And let's say that person has come to me for some sort of help or healing. When I take that vibration and I then do something to put it into action, which maybe the action is healing and whatever those steps are, that is when the energy takes place. Another good example, which happens all the time, is with our thoughts. Okay. I have this thought that, oh my gosh, I am a terrible public speaker. So now that I have this thought that I am a terrible public speaker, believe it or not, there are all these potentials that are in the quantum that honestly I can choose from at any moment that proves the point that I am a terrible speaker. So now I have opened this up to potentiality, okay? So the moment that I think that I am a terrible speaker, I have now picked that potentiality that is out there. I have collapsed that wave into particles, and now internally I am vibrating whatever that vibration is about being a terrible speaker. Maybe I have to go and talk to 100 people that day, and the vibration that it creates is anxiety, okay? Because we like to label things. So now I'm vibrating anxiety. So now I step onto that stage and I have to give a speech. So now I am giving energy to those vibrations. And what can happen? What can happen is now I am projecting out those vibrations where maybe I'm missing words in when I'm talking. Maybe I'm sweating, my pits are sweating, my hands are sweating. So I'm starting to have these energetic reactions to it because that is the potentiality that I had picked. So everything that we do actually requires frequency, vibration, and energy. They are always working together, but they are actually different. So we can pull them out in their singularity and be frequency is potentiality, vibration is oscillation, energy is action when we pull them all out. But believe it or not, on an unconscious or subconscious level, we put them all into play all the time. So now that I've heard this and I hear this, it makes me more cognizant of the way that I use those words because when I say, "Oh, I'm feeling into the energy," I really am not because energy is action, it's animation. What I'm feeling into is the vibration of it. When I sit there and I think, "Huh, what am I going to have to for dinner today?" I am now moving into frequency. I am looking at the potentials of what I want to eat today. And then the moment that I say I want that potential, that is when this cycle starts to happen. And I love Hermeticism and the principles of the universe. So when we so really frequency, vibration, and energy follows the law of rhythm because it's cyclical and it's always cycling, and we are always using it whether we realize it or not. So that is my share for you today. My video journal is what I just heard that I'm now doing video journals to share the information and the insight that I get, but that is what I'm sharing with you today. So sit down, have a get your coffee or tea, whatever it is, and sit down. And I really want you to think about this because there is this beautiful dance that we're doing constantly with frequency, vibration, and energy. And I want to give each one of them the power that they deserve because they are individual, yet when they all come together, they create this beautiful dance. So I did write this thing when I kind of put it all together. And this is what I realized that frequency, vibration, and energy is. So I said that energy is the divine spark, frequency is the song that it sings, and vibration is the dance that makes it visible. All right, everyone. I hope this was helpful. I love all of you and be back for more of my journals. Bye, everyone.